Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's huddle. It's nice to see everybody. And for those that couldn't be here tonight, we will have the recording posted for you tomorrow. So I'll go ahead and share my screen unless someone has anything they want to say. Hi. Here we go. I couldn't find my PowerPoint from last week, so I started all over again. Well, where is my PowerPoint for tonight? Why is it not here? Yay! It didn't go nowhere. I got scared, Dorothy.
That would have been fun.
No, I would have.
There it is.
Yeah, I come home from the doctor and I come in here and got this put together. No, I would not have been a happy camper if I didn't have it. So let's get our huddle started. And so we got a new cover page to start with. I used all of our little pictures from our stories that we put together. And health coaching is invest in yourself and the dreams of others. And that's exactly what we all do. Can I get an amen on that?
Amen.
Amen.
All right. So we talk a lot about maintaining and we experience a lot of relapsing. So I found the statistics of what people have in common that relapse and what people have in common that maintain. And the people who maintain exercise, 90% of them do. And the people who are prone to relapse, they only 34% of them have put exercise into their life. Conscious behavior, 90%. That's what we all do. We're very conscious. That's why we track what you don't measure. You can't. What is it? What you don't track, you can't manage. That's how it is. That's how it goes. And then the people who were eating unconsciously, 70% of them. So the conscious behavior is a very big part of the maintaining. And social support, and we all know that. That's what we do in our huddle up. It's that support of each other that I think really contributes a lot to keep us motivated and staying on track. And then the people who relapse tend not to have so much support. And I found this very interesting, and I think that all of us can probably identify this because we've gotten better at addressing our problems, and whether we confront them or not, we don't let them be what destroys our health anymore. We learn how to deal with that and set them aside. But 93% of the people who maintain, they confront problems directly. Has that changed for anyone? I mean, is that something you see a big difference in for those that are maintaining? Lisa, why don't you address that? So 10%, that's where the big number was. 10% of people who relapse, they don't confront problems directly. So they eat their problems, you know? And the people who learn to confront their problems directly, 93% of them maintain. You're the one who's doing all your structural tension chart on maintaining and going to do it for 2 years. Can you see, what do you see in these statistics here that you can relate to?
They're spot on, but the structural tension chart for me is you can't fix what you don't know is broken. Like tracking and structural tension, making purposeful decisions that support where you want to be.
So that's the conscious behavior.
Yeah, conscious behavior, and when you're in tune with what you're doing, then it's easier to tweak it than if you don't even realize what you're doing.
And are you better at confronting problems directly than you have been? You're the person who said in your life you have gained and lost, what, 800 and?
Over 900 pounds.
Over 900 pounds. Would you say confronting problems directly was a big part of that, or not confronting them?
Yeah, I don't think I realized what the problem was clearly, because I was able to lose the weight but not able to keep it off. So yeah, the problem of keeping it off, yeah, I'm confronting that directly now, so I think you're spot on.
And exercise, you have that incorporated in your day. It's really just
absolutely
like brushing your teeth, right?
like you say, exercise should be like brushing your teeth, but it's also important to note that you have to baby step your way to success. If you go too hard at it, you'll get discouraged and fall off. So that's why where the structural tension chart comes in, is making a plan to succeed. And matter of fact, I have my new structural tension chart here. What I did.
You can't see it. You'll have to wait till we get through.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be purposeful in that plan.
Yeah. So there's 3 areas that we have to pay attention to. It's your social environment, your home, your work, your leisure, and your quiet time, and what you do at home. If you came home and all the junk is around and things you really don't want or is not going to serve you well, if they're there and they're tempting, it's very hard not to eat them. So you evaluate what your home setting is and try to keep that home clean so that you don't have those temptations. And then at work, people are always bringing in food, and there's going out to lunch, and then your leisure time, and then you have the emotional side of all of this. So when you turn to things when you're not thinking and you're having fun, it's just not the first thing on your mind right then. And then, of course, your behavioral, when it's planned. Dorothy loves to talk about planning your day, your meals, and don't get out without your healthy snacks, because you'll turn to something. And then when people decompress, they tend to get careless. And when you only rely on willpower and you don't have structure in your life, willpower, it's like anything else. It runs low, and you can't rely on it to pull you through. But Lisa is big, and I need to put my R in there, and that's structural tension of taking what it is you want to do and laying it out and making a plan and then taking the action on that plan. So we're going to talk about making healthcare a team sport. Anymore, I know that with Medicare, you have that primary, and that primary is the one who sends you out and you see this doctor and that doctor, and it's all put together, meshed together, and everything is in one place. But if we rely on them solely, and it doesn't start with us, they don't know us. They know what statistics are, and they know what applies to most people, but we're treated like whatever the average is. So if we don't take personal responsibility for what's going on with us, then it's not going to get us where we need to be. So it's okay for it to be a team sport, but it really has to start with us. And reimagine how healthcare should work. Things are changing now. Things are not the way they used to be. People are hooking up over the internet. A person who is picked up 911 now, and what are they called? The people, EMTs. The EMTs come out. They can hook up video right there, and they can see what's going on with that patient right on the site. They don't even have to be at the hospital anymore. That's all new technology. But if we haven't taken care of ourselves, what good is technology going to do us? If we have taken care of ourselves and technology comes along with their breakthroughs, then it's more likely those breakthroughs are going to help you. They can only save your life for so long. That is exactly what Dr. Anderson was talking about when he said that he would see people in the end of their life, and that he can buy them days, months, and years. But if he got them further upstream, then he could actually change their outcome. Well, that starts with us too. And that's why we are constantly harping on how much you move, what you eat, how much water you get, are you getting your sleep, and taking care of yourself. That's really our own responsibility. And it's through that responsibility that when science advances to such a point that they can help us, if we have helped ourselves, we will be the people that science can actually help. Here is a TED Talk that I found, and I really did enjoy it, and I thought you guys would. And I didn't share my sound, so I'm going to do that right now. And anyone want to say anything before I do this? Okay, why don't I have my share here? That's why I don't have my share there. All right, I'm ready. Here we go. You guys are going to be amazed. I'm telling you right now. This is unbelievable. Okay, sure. So, boy, I'm slow tonight. Can you tell I'm tired? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And here we go.
I want to share some personal friends and stories with you that I've actually never talked about in public before to help illustrate the idea and the need and the hope for us to reinvent our healthcare system around the world. 24 years ago, I had a sophomore in college. I had a series of fainting spells. No alcohol was involved. And I ended up in student health, and they ran some lab work and came back right away and said, kidney problems. And before I knew it, I was involved and thrown into this sort of 6 months of tests and trials and tribulations with 6 doctors across 2 hospitals in this sort of clash of medical titans to figure out which one of them was right about what was wrong with me. And I'm sitting in a waiting room sometime later for an ultrasound, and all 6 of these doctors actually show up in the room at once, and I'm like, uh-oh, this is bad news. And their diagnosis was this. They said, you have 2 rare kidney diseases that are going to actually destroy your kidneys eventually. You have cancer-like cells in your immune system that we need to start treatment right away, and you'll never be eligible for a kidney transplant, and you're not likely to live more than 2 or 3 years. Now, with the gravity of this doomsday diagnosis, it just sucked me in immediately. And as if I began preparing myself as a patient to die according to the schedule that they had just given to me. Until I met a patient named Verna in a waiting room who became a dear friend, and she grabbed me one day and took me off to the medical library and did a bunch of research on these diagnoses and these diseases and said, Eric, these people who get this are normally in their 70s and 80s. They don't know anything about you. Wake up, take control of your health, and get on with your life. And I did. Now, these people making these proclamations to me were not bad people. In fact, these professionals were miracle workers, but they're working in a flawed, expensive system that's set up the wrong way. It's dependent on hospitals and clinics for our every care need. It's dependent on specialists who just look at parts of us. It's dependent on guesswork of diagnoses and drug cocktails until something either works or you die. And it's dependent on passive patients who just take it and don't ask any questions. Now, the problem with this model is that it's unsustainable globally. It's unaffordable globally. We need to invent what I call a personal health system. So what does this personal health system look like? And what new technologies and roles is it going to entail? Now, I'm going to start by actually sharing with you a new friend of mine, Libby, somebody I've become quite attached to over the last 6 months. This is Libby, or actually this is an ultrasound image of Libby. This is the kidney transplant I was never supposed to have. Now, this is an image that we shot a couple of weeks ago for today, and you'll notice on the edge of this image there's some dark spots there, which was really concerning to me. So we're going to actually do a live exam to sort of see how Libby's doing. This is not a wardrobe malfunction. I have to take my belt off here. Don't you in the front row worry or anything. I'm going to use a device from a company called Mobisante. This is a portable ultrasound. It can plug into a smartphone. It can plug into a tablet. Mobisante is up in Redmond, Washington. And they kindly trained me to actually do this on myself. They're not approved to do this. Patients are not approved to do this. This is a concept demo, so I want to make that clear. All right, I got to gel up. Now the people in the front row are very nervous. And I want to actually introduce you to Dr. Batuk, who's another friend of mine. He's up in Legacy Good Samaritan Hospital in Portland, Oregon. So let me just make sure. Hey, Dr. Batuk, can you hear me okay? And actually, can you see Libby?
Hi there, Eric. You look busy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just taking my clothes off in front of a few hundred people. It's wonderful. So I wanted to see, does this look the image that you need to get? And I know you want to look and see if those spots are still there.
Okay. Well, let's scan around a little bit here. Give me a lay of the land.
All right.
Okay. Turn it a little bit inside, a little bit toward the middle for me.
All right.
Okay. That's good. How about up a little bit? Okay, freeze that image. That's a good one for me.
All right. Now, the last week when I did this, you had me actually sort of measure that spot to the right. Should I do that again?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. This is kind of hard to do with one hand on your belly and one hand on measuring, but I've got it, I think, and I'll save that image and actually send it to you. So tell me a little bit about what this dark spot means. It's not something I was very happy about.
Many people after a kidney transplant will develop a little fluid collection around the kidney. Most of the time it doesn't create any kind of mischief, but it does warrant looking at. So I'm happy we've got an opportunity to look at it today, make sure that it's not growing, it's not creating any problems. Based on the other images we have, I'm really happy that how it looks today.
All right. Well, I guess we'll double check it when I come in. I've got my 6-month biopsy in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to let you do that in the clinic because I don't think I can do that one on myself.
Good choice.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Batuk. All right. So what you're sort of seeing here is an example of disruptive technologies, of mobile, social, and analytic technologies. These are the foundations of what's going to make personal health possible. Now, there's really 3 pillars of this personal health I want to talk to you about now, and it's care anywhere, care networking, and care customization. And you just saw a little bit of the first 2 with my interaction with Dr. Batuk. So let's sort of start with care anywhere. Humans invented the idea of hospitals and clinics in the 1780s. It is time to update our thinking. We have got to untether clinicians and patients from the notion of traveling to a special bricks and mortar place for all of our care, because these places are often the wrong tool and the most expensive tool for the job. And these are sometimes unsafe places to send our sickest patients, especially in an era of superbugs and hospital-acquired infections. And many countries are going to go brickless from the start because they're never going to be able to afford the mega medical plexes that a lot of the rest of the world has built. Now, I personally learned that hospitals can be a very dangerous place at a young age. This was me in 3rd grade. I broke my elbow very seriously, had to have surgery, worried that they were going to actually lose the arm. Recovering from the surgery in the hospital, I get bed sores. Those bed sores become infected, and they give me an antibiotic, which I end up being allergic to. And now my whole body breaks out, and now all of those become infected. The longer I stayed in the hospital, the sicker I became and the more expensive it became. And this happens to millions of people around the year every year. The future of personal health that I'm talking about says care must occur at home as the default model, not in a hospital or clinic. You have to earn your way into those places by being sick enough to use that tool for the job. Now, the smartphones that we're already carrying can clearly have diagnostic devices like ultrasounds plugged into them and a whole array of others today. And as sensing is built into these, we will be able to do vital signs monitor and behavioral monitoring like we've never had before. Many of us will have implantables that will actually look real time at what's going on with our blood chemistry and in our proteins right now. Now, the software is also getting smarter, right? Think about a coach, an agent online that's going to help me do safe self-care. That same interaction that we just did with the ultrasound will likely have real-time image processing, and the device will say up, down, left, right. Ah, Eric, that's the perfect spot to send that image off to your doctor. Now, if we've got all these network devices that are helping us to do care anywhere, it stands to reason that we also need a team to be able to interact with all of that stuff. And that leads to the second pillar I want to talk about, care networking. We have got to go beyond this paradigm of isolated specialists doing parts care to multidisciplinary teams doing person care. Uncoordinated care today is expensive at best, and it is deadly at worst. 80% of medical errors are actually caused by communication and coordination problems amongst medical team members. I had my own heart scare years ago in graduate school when we were under treatment for the kidney, and suddenly they're like, oh, we think you have a heart problem. And I have these palpitations that are showing up. They put me through 5 weeks of tests, very expensive, very scary, before the nurse finally notices the piece of paper, my meds list that I've been carrying to every single appointment, and says, oh my gosh, 3 different specialists had prescribed 3 different versions of the same drug to me. I did not have a heart problem. I had an overdose problem. I had a care coordination problem. And this happens to millions of people every year. I want to use technology that we're all working on and making happen to make healthcare a coordinated team sport. Now, this is the most frightening thing to me. Out of all the care I've had in hospitals and clinics around the world, The first time I've ever had a true team-based care experience was at Legacy Good Sam these last 6 months for me to go get this. And this is a picture of my graduation team from Legacy. There's a couple of the folks here. You recognize Dr. Batuk. We just talked to him. There's Jenny, one of the nurses, Allison, who helped manage the transplant list, and a dozen other people who aren't pictured. A pharmacist, a psychologist, a nutritionist, even a financial counselor, Lisa, who helped us deal with all of the insurance hassles. I wept the day I graduated. I should have been happy because I was so well that I could go back to my normal doctors, but I wept because I was so actually connected to this team. And here's the most important part. The other people in this picture are me and my wife, Ashley. Legacy trained us on how to do care for me at home so that they could offload the hospitals and clinics. It's the only way that the model works. My team is actually working in China on one of these sort of self-care models for a project we called Age-Friendly Cities. We're trying to help build a social network that can help track and train the care of seniors caring for themselves, as well as the care provided by their family members or volunteer community health workers, as well as have an exchange network online where, for example, I can donate 3 hours of care a day to your mom if somebody else can help me with transportation and meals, and we exchange all of that online. The most important point I want to make to you about this is the sacred and somewhat over-romanticized doctor-patient one-on-one is a relic of the past. The future of healthcare is smart teams, and you better be on that team for yourself. Now, the last thing that I want to talk to you about is care customization, because you've got Care Anywhere and you've got care networking. Those are going to go a long way towards improving our healthcare system, but there's still too much guesswork. Randomized clinical trials were actually invented in 1948 to help invent the drugs that cured tuberculosis. And those are important things, don't get me wrong. These population studies that we've done have created tons of miracle drugs that have saved millions of lives. But the problem is that healthcare is treating us as averages, not unique individuals. Because at the end of the day, the patient is not the same thing as the population who were studied. That's what's leading to the guesswork. The technologies that are coming, high-performance computing, analytics, big data that everyone's talking about, will allow us to build predictive models for each of us as individual patients. And the magic here is experiment on my avatar in software, not my body in suffering. Now, I've had 2 examples I want to quickly share with you of this kind of care customization on my own journey. The first was quite simple. I finally realized some years ago that all my medical teams were optimizing my treatment for longevity. It's like a badge of honor to see how long they can get the patient live. I was optimizing my life for quality of life, and quality of life for me means time in snow. So on my chart, I forced them to put patient goal, low doses of drugs over longer periods of time, side effects friendly to skiing. And I think that's why I achieved longevity. I think that time in snow therapy was as important as the pharmaceuticals that I had. Now, the second example of customization, by the way, you can't customize care if you don't know your own goals. So healthcare can't know those until you know what your own healthcare goals. But the second example I want to give you is I happened to be an early guinea pig, and I got very lucky to have my whole genome sequenced. Now, it took about 2 weeks of processing on Intel's highest-end servers to make this happen, and another 6 months of human and computing labor to make sense of all of that data. And at the end of all of that, they said, yes, those diagnoses of that clash of medical titans all of those years ago were wrong, and we have a better path forward. The future that Intel's working on now is to figure out how to make that computing for personalized medicine go from months and weeks to even hours, and make this kind of tool available not just in the mainframes of Tier 1 research hospitals around the world, but in the mainstream. Every patient, every clinic with access to whole genome sequencing. And I tell you, this kind of care customization for everything from your goals to your genetics will be the most game-changing transformation that we witness in healthcare during our lifetime. So these 3 pillars of personal health, Care Anywhere, care networking, care customization are happening in pieces now, but this vision will completely fail if we don't step up as caregivers and as patients to take on new roles. It's what my friend Verna said, wake up and take control of your health. Because at the end of the day, these technologies are simply about people caring for other people and ourselves in some powerful new ways. And it's in that spirit that I want to introduce you to one last friend very quickly. Tracy Gamley stepped up to give me the impossible kidney that I was never supposed to have. So Tracy, just tell us a little bit quickly about what the donor experience was like with you.
For me, it was really easy. I only had one night in the hospital. The surgery was done laparoscopically, so I have just 5 very small scars on my abdomen. And I had 4 weeks away from work and went back to doing everything I'd done before without any changes.
Well, I probably will never get a chance to sort of say this to you in such a large audience ever again. So thank you feels like a really trite word, but thank you from the bottom of my heart for saving my life. This TED stage and all of the TED stages are often about celebrating innovation and celebrating new technologies, and I've done that here today. And I've seen amazing things coming from TED speakers. I mean, my gosh, artificial kidneys, even printable kidneys that are coming. But until such time that these amazing technologies are available to all of us, and even when they are, it's up to us to care for and even save one another. I hope you will go out and make personal health happen for yourselves and for everyone. Thanks so much.
Hey, huh? Let's unmute everybody. I got you going right now. What'd you think?
Wow. Amazing.
So it is important that we keep ourselves as healthy as we can be, because there's a lot of exciting things that's already in the network that is going to be available to us. And like sooner rather than later, I think. The patient will see you now. How about that? And that's exactly what they're talking about. You will be in control. Now, how much more control will you be in because you have taken on the daunting task of learning why you get sick, learning why you get well, learning what helps you heal, learning what keeps you from healing, the habits of disease, the habits of health. And that's what we all do. That's what we do every day, and that's why we meet every Tuesday. And I'm looking forward to the future and to what science is bringing to all of us. And I think we'll all be ready for it. So I'm going to let Marcia, Bird Mom, I'm going to let you start tonight. But you never start, so that's why I picked you. So the takeaway lessons you learned, and you can pass it if you don't feel like it. Nobody's ever on the spot, but you're amongst friends. And if I look after my health, I will.
Just be in better control of my life and not have to rely on doctors so much. And I think the takeaway is really what you said is true, because there's going to be so many improvements in the way we deal with healthcare now. And I believe that hospitals are terrible. So many people get sick and die in hospitals. I hate even going to visit people in hospitals, honestly. They're just scary. They're really scary.
You hear the stories all the time about people picking up.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that wasn't really a good takeaway, but
it was a good takeaway. And also the fact that the doctors are well-meaning and brilliant and all, but still with that, they're still guessing. And they
don't really know you. They really don't know you as a person, actually.
I thought that was really important, too.
Exactly. I'd like to pass to Dorothy.
My takeaway is it's really true. You have to be your own advocate, and because in my experience, they always want to give you a pill.
Yeah.
Every time I go in, they want to give you a pill.
Amen.
Yeah. So, and you have to fight it. And I'm not saying that if I had to have a pill, take a pill.
Right.
But I think I like to try everything else first.
Yes, agreed.
Diabetes medication, and they say, you can't control it without taking medication, but yes, you can. And so, and they don't like it if you tell them you're not going to either.
No, they don't. No.
Okay, so I'm going to pass it to.
If I look after my health, I will.
Oh, I already do. I look at after my health, I will live longer. So,
That's a good ending.
yeah,
Yes.
and I'll pass it to Jan.
Thanks, Dorothy.
You didn't say what you meant
I never have the opportunity.
that.
I believe I really enjoyed the TEDs tonight, and it's all true. But most people don't want to be self-educated. Most people don't want to take the effort to learn about things. Most people want the pill, Dorothy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Most people do want the pill. So when you go to the doctor and you're not of that gender, then you have to fight for it. You have to fight for yourself. You have to fight for yourself with doctors, with hospitals, with the whole bureaucracy but it can be done.
Companies.
It can be done.
Yeah.
Ron and I did that for many, many years, and he was along a long time because we did that.
Yeah.
So I definitely believe in being your own advocate,
Yeah.
because nobody can speak for you except yourself. Your doctor can't speak for you. He doesn't know you. No, I actually believe in self-education, but most people don't want it. They don't want to take the time. They want the quick fix. And so when you go in and you're going to be your own self-advocate, you're not the normal person that these doctors and hospitals and professionals are seeing. And you have to convince them that you're different. So. And it sometimes you step on toes, and you know what? That has to be. Because you have to be your own self-advocate. End of story.
Who are you passing to? Who you passing to?
Didn't answer that if I have to look after my health.
Oh yeah, if I look after my health, I will. What are the benefits of you looking after your health?
I think she's asking you, Jan.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, the unfinished sentence there. Lisa put it on you. I was going to let you slide. If I look after my health, the policeman there, guys.
If I look after my health, I will be the first one asking questions. Not my doctor, not the nurse, anything. I will be the first one because I will know where I'm at. Because I'm asking the question.
Good for you.
And who'd you pass to?
Say again?
Who are you passing to?
Okay, Lisa, I'll pass to you.
I knew that was
Payback.
coming. The TED Talk was profound, and but as I was listening to it, I was struck by a few things, which those of you that are familiar with my story know that I finally took charge, and instead of being on a suitcase, like picture suitcase, a medication, I'm down to one. But my thought during all of this is it's all well and good for patients to advocate for themselves, but I was actually in a place with a mental health diagnosis and so heavily medicated that for years I was not in a position to advocate for myself. So that's also important. But I love the whole healthcare system. And then this falls right along with that is I like what you said about people want the pills. That's because that's the mentality. There's a pill for everything. I mean, but if anybody takes time to look at what the pill, sometimes the side effects of the pill outweigh the benefits. But you also have a right to refuse. People don't realize they have a right to refuse anything. So just because a doctor, a good example I can give is I was on pain management for a long time, and just because the doctor gave me elephant size medication to treat something didn't mean that it was in my best interest to take it. So very important that you be your own advocate. And I'm really excited that as agents of change. And the third thing is that Dr. Anderson is already out ahead of the TED Talk, and that he's trying to get us to not need the doctors in the first place to the level described. And we can also take charge of our own lives and decrease the need for so much health care. And if I look after my health, I'm drawing a blank here, but I have looked after my health this past year and really fine-tuned habits, and I live each day in joy. So if I look after my health, I will live each day in joy. And
that's excellent, Lisa.
I'm going to pass to, wait, where's she at? I'm going to pass to Marcia. Martha, is it Martha?
Martha?
Yeah, Martha. I'm going to pass to Martha.
Martha. If I look after my health, I will continue to get better and better. I've been going to doctors with textbooks that I paid lots of money for over 50 years. And like Lisa, I went through mental health necessity care, and a lot of it wasn't mental health need, but they made it into that. And I believe research in whatever way you can for yourself and your family is the way to go. So you can take it into your doctors and share it with them and move on making good decisions together.
Absolutely.
Very good.
And was that your takeaway, or was that if I look after my health?
That was if I look out for my health.
So what's your takeaway from what you?
My takeaway is the program was excellent, and I saw a date of 2013 on it, but he was way ahead of himself even for then. And when you think we're going into 2020 pretty soon, it's even more important to keep up with your doctor on what's possible and not just take an, "Oh, okay, I'm going to die" attitude. I feel I have something to give in life to others who are in need in one way or another, whether it's reading or loving or medical, whatever. And in order to do that, I have to be as healthy as possible.
And I've heard that from you before. That's excellent. Yeah, I found it interesting that he found out late in life how that was a misdiagnosis all those years before. That was amazing. He would have been dead without the friend. Yeah.
Wow.
You're passing to Tony now?
Yes.
Tony,
Hi.
I didn't know if you were awake or not. So what's your
I just landed. I landed the plane. I'm okay.
Oh.
No, my takeaway is, stay away from hospitals. That's my takeaway. He made it very plain to me when he was talking about hospitals are dangerous place to be in. So if you could avoid going to a hospital, you could figure out what is wrong with me. You know what your body does. When you don't feel good. When there's so many other things you could figure yourself before you could say, I need to go to the hospital. Like I need to go to emergency. No. So stay away. That's my takeaway that I got. Stay away from them hospitals. There's so many sick people there.
and they're right. And I know your answer. If I look after my health, I will live to be 111.
Yeah.
Connie, what is your takeaway?
Me? Oh, well, my takeaway takes me right back to the worst day in your life since I've been with you. And he went to the doctor, and the doctor told him to, gave him, what was that? Comes in a blister pack. I can't remember. Huh?
Z-Pack?
What is it?
Z-Pack?
It wasn't the Z-Pack. I want to say it's, do you remember what it was? I want to say it was
A steroid? A
What is
steroid.
it? Yeah, it was a steroid. Which one was it? Do you know?
I don't remember.
Huh?
It's a pack up. You take 5 of one thing. You take 5
Yeah.
and then
So
4
he
and
comes home.
3,
He
2,
comes
1.
home. He comes home in the evening. It says on the pack that he could take them all at one time, and the doctor told him he could take them all at one time. He doesn't talk to me until he takes them all at one time.
Oh.
And I freaked that he took them all at one time. Called the doctor. They said, no, it's okay. He can do that because the pack even said he could do that. Now, I would never have done it no matter what the pack said. And then the next day, his legs are the size of tree trunks. His hands are the size. So this is him listening to a doctor, reading a pack, and doing something really stupid because he wasn't paying attention himself. And
I
he,
don't do that anymore.
No,
yeah, you learned the hard way. And what happened is, on top of him doing that, the doctor had assumed he was younger than he was. And he gave him a dose for someone in their 60s. And yeah, Tony still has lingering effects from that. But yeah, you got to take care of yourself. I enjoyed what everybody said. And if I look after my health, which I am, I know that I'll feel better, I'll look better, I'll do more, I'll be happier, and I'll live longer, and the quality of my life will be much greater. And those are all the reasons that I participate and also try to help other people do the same thing. So
Just don't break your foot. Don't break your foot.
Well, I done did that.
Yeah, I know. You got to help people other ways.
That was funny. But I thank all of you guys for coming. The president's talking at 9 o'clock if any of you are interested.
I don't think so.
I'll be listening.
See you next week.
You got it.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.